All right, Alex, I have 6 names I want to give you next. Those names are Jimmy Garoppolo, Teddy Bridgewater, Riley Reef, Julian Edelman, Von Miller, and Zach Ertz. All these guys, big names in really key positions on their respective teams. But there's also all these guys that, if cut, could save their teams a huge amount of money. Jimmy G will save you 23.6 in 2021. Teddy Bridgewater gives you 2.9. Riley Reef, 11.8. Julian Edelman, 3.4. Von Miller, 18. And Zach Ertz, 4.7 million. So out of all these guys, who's most likely going to get cut?
Actually, I think it's the same guy that's going to get cut is the best player on this list, and I think that's Von Miller. I think Von Miller. It just makes I don't know. I think the injury last year almost made this a cleaner break than if he had a massive season, and him and Bradley Chubb just looked incredible with each other. But
Mhm.
saving 18 million for a team that is young and rebuilding, and I don't think they're close to contending right now
Please
in
stop
an
saying the R
incredible
word. I've
division.
heard it
So
too much.
yeah, so I
Oh.
think they cut Von Miller because he doesn't have as much long term value than a guy like Justin Simmons has.
Mhm.
So you sign Simmons to a long term deal, you cut Von Miller, you say your goodbyes there, and I think that's probably a guy that is always going to be remembered in Denver. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl, so
Super
he'll
Bowl MVP.
probably yeah
Single
his
handedly ruined Cam Newton's career.
he really did. I mean that the fumble recovery, not fumble recovery
In
there.
both of the forced fumbles he had on Cam Newton. Oh,
Yeah, so
tough day at
yeah,
the
I mean, I,
office.
I think he's had a great run in Denver, but it's time for them to go their separate ways.
I do think Von Miller is going to end up getting cut by the Denver Broncos. I do believe that. But I think it's more likely. I guess maybe both these guys are going to get cut. Uh, And then, I mean, Zach Ertz probably going to get cut. I think the most impactful one here, and the one is going to be the one that's going to save you the most amount of money. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get cut from the San Francisco 49ers. And we already had John Lynch come out and say, Jimmy G's our guy, but how much weight do you really want to put into that? I don't buy it. And Jimmy G's not the guy of the future. Alex, you've been talking this show that they're going to end up drafting the quarterback. I believe they're going to end up drafting the quarterback, or at the very least, trade or sign someone else. Hell, I'd almost rather see the return of Alex Smith to the Bay Area. It's something like that. I know you probably don't. That's probably a little bit of an exaggeration.
As a backup, he's fine.
He's fine. He's fine. I'm still mad that they chose Kaepernick over him because I think, or I would love the dual quarterback. I want them to actually try Kaepernick and Alex Smith just to see if it would work because I always had the hunch that it might, but of course that was like a decade ago at this point, so who really cares? But Jimmy G, you cut him, he's going to save you a crap ton of money, and he's going to allow you to sign more free agents to have less roster turnover than you really need to. Also, the
So here's one thing. 'Cause you touched on a really really good point there, and I think we touched on it a little bit before too with the 49ers. Their front office is very very sharp with the cap, and you see Teddy Bridgewater and Jimmy G, two guys that signed decently big contracts. I mean, Teddy's wasn't crazy big, but it was still 21
it's
million
a
a year for
decent
3 years.
contract. Yeah.
So here's the interesting part is you cut both those guys with Teddy Bridgewater, you're saving 2.9 million off the cap. And because Jimmy G's contract was so front loaded and had a lot of, early incentives and signing bonuses, they could save 24 million if they cut that guy. Almost, 10 times uh, what you save with Teddy Bridgewater. So I think those two things are crazy. And what I actually think might be crazy is it already came out today as you're listening to this, but um, if the Jimmy G gets cut, I can see them bringing in Teddy Bridgewater if they draft a guy
Another
at
floor
12.
raiser, just like what Jimmy G is.
Seriously, and I mean the Niners. We already see that Jimmy G can take a team to the Super Bowl because the Niners team was so good. So you bring a guy in with like Teddy Bridgewater and you save 24 million off the cap, and maybe you use all that money to re-sign Trent Williams and bring back one of your cornerbacks, and you pick up a lot of guys in the draft. So uh, yeah, I mean I can see that happening, but I just think it's crazy because you have 24 million by
That's a
cutting
lot
this
of
guy.
money.
It's a
That's a lot
lot.
of money. And the bottom line is that your favorite player on your favorite team is probably not going to be with him next year just because that's how this cap situation is going to roll. And like most NFL all season, especially if you're on a team that isn't contender, that's in using the R word, Prepare yourself for disappointment because it's probably going to happen and you're probably going to end up heartbroken.